So good afternoon traders and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a bit different from the normal sit down videos, and I'm going to go through a full month of backtesting. And this isn't going to be my current strategy, but I'm going to show you how I would first start testing a new strategy. So I'm going to go through exactly creating a plan on what I'm looking to test, and then I'll take you step by step through how I actually do this using FX Replay. FX Replay is basically the only backtesting tool that I use. I often use Excel, Microsoft Excel, for collecting data that I want to collect that maybe FX Replay doesn't collect. But yeah, FX Replay, it makes it easy to actually enter the positions. And when I say enter, I mean you can actually press place order or place limit and it shows you the P&L moving and stuff like that, rather than just going on TradingView Replay and saying, oh, I would have bought here, I would have bought here. You can actually buy there and sell there. Obviously it's not real money, it is just virtual funds obviously, but it kind of does make it a bit more realistic. So if I show you this here now, we're just going to create a little plan. So I'm actually looking to trade a New York breakout plan. So that's the plan for this. So we're looking for timing. This is obviously when I'm looking to enter the trades and kind of the cutoff period, because I don't want to be looking all the way into the late afternoon. I want to probably be trading around 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. or 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. So we're going to go 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. obviously. And if we have our entry, we're going to make it quite simple for the video because I don't want to have a super complicated plan, especially when I'm first testing a strategy. If I'm first testing something, I want to just have proof that it works and not go in with these 5, 6, 7 different confluences all stacked on top of each other when the overall idea for the strategy might not even work. So I'm just going to go in with a breakout and close below or above previous high or low. It's weird typing on a keyboard when I'm usually on my laptop, so going to a desktop keyboard it's very different switching keyboards every day. So yeah, and we're going to look for, so the previous high or low has to be within the last hour. That is a good way to actually do that, because otherwise we could be looking at a low from quite a long time ago. And if price continues in the current trend, a close following that trend will cause an entry. So what I mean by this is, let's say price is already trending and there's no previous high or low within the range. If the next candle at 1:30 then does close kind of positive and with the trend and not just wicks up and then closes below, then we will obviously still enter that trade. So stop loss, we're going to put this as above or below previous wicks, because if the entry is obviously really close to the candle we're actually looking to enter from, I don't want to have like a 1 pip or 2 pip stop loss. So that's the reason for that. And take profit. See, this is something that it's not that important to me for the testing, because usually when I'm testing, I would test a 1 to 1, a 1 to 2, a 1 to 3, 1 to 4, and collect the data for all of those. But I usually just stick with a 1 to 2 risk to reward. So obviously twice the size of the stop loss with a 1 to 2. Invalidation, close in opposite direction from the side one. So this is quite simple. If I'm looking to buy, or I'm in a buy position, and then price closes and break structure to the downside, I will close the trade. That's kind of a simple way I look at my trading, and I often do these little tests where I will test something that maybe I see happen quite often, and I just want to test to see if it's even worth pursuing. Because if I could add a simple strategy like this where I have 2-hour period during the afternoon, and let's say the trades often happen in the first 15 minutes or the first half an hour, and it's profitable, makes an extra couple of percent per month, or maybe like 10-20% per year, then why wouldn't I add it into my trading? And obviously I could develop it, and if it's super simple, I could turn it into an automated strategy. So that is obviously what we are looking to test. So we have here, name the session, NY breakout, and let's put 100k into the account. And obviously assets, we are trading with, let's do this for Euro USD, because I already trade GU with the WillssFX. And let's do 2024. There we go. And this doesn't really matter because we're not going to test the whole. So we are on the charts here now. If we move this down, we don't really need this up because we're not going to be managing the positions like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this on to show the New York from 130 to 330. There we go. So now during that time, if we change this to around 15 seconds, there we go. And we go to a New York session. Okay, so what we're looking for now is price to basically break this low here. If price breaks this low, that's great. Or if price breaks this level, we're looking to buy. If it breaks and closes below this level, we're looking to sell. It's literally as simple as that. And I had the candle movement on 15 seconds because I don't want to miss 20% of the candle if I'm doing it on a 1 minute or something like that. So it does take, a few clicks to actually get to the next candle. But I'm okay with this happening because I want to see what's happening in the candle. So obviously see that one didn't close above. This one, there's obviously a lot more volatility in this candle. And that one didn't close above or below. Let's see if this one can. And this one didn't close anywhere on the high or low. Same with that one. Okay, so we do have a push up now, so we're obviously going to market execute here. And like I said, stop loss below the wick with a 1 to 2 risk to reward. The thing with this, unless you have like a calendar up, you won't know which news events are happening, what bank holidays or anything like that. So you kind of have to just trade like normal. Obviously this day, the 1st of March, again, it's, it could have been NFP, it could have been anything, we don't know what's going to happen. So we just have to basically trade based on what we're seeing. But in the actual markets, if you get stopped out from a news event, in your testing, you can then look and see back every time I've actually traded a news event with my strategy, it's actually lost. So in the live markets, you can then say, oh, well, I'm not going to trade a news event based on what I've seen in the testing. So we're in this trade now. As you see, I actually did forget to place the order on the trade, which is quite annoying, but you can see how it's playing out here. But if we actually place an order here like this, so if we actually place a limit here, if price does actually come back, because I did forget to place it. Okay, there we go. So now we are in the trade, and we'll see what happens on this trade. It's obviously not a great start. Still going. Okay, so the first one is actually a loss, and you'll see that I say price will close below to invalidate. I would want to see price close below this level to invalidate. So when price had multiple rejections in this area, that wasn't actually a bad sign for me, even though we did have this big bearish candle. A lot of people say, oh, this engulfed the previous candle, but again, it's not the way that I see the markets. So obviously this trade was a loss, so we can say, okay, minus 1%. And the good thing about FX Replay, I can just go to the next New York session, and there we go. So now we are at the next entry point, and this one's kind of the same as the previous one with the close high and low. And obviously this one we're probably going to end up buying. There we go. So we know that because obviously this is now 15 seconds after the candle open, that if we were trading live, we would enter around 15 seconds after the candle closure. Okay, so the same thing happened on this one as the previous trade, which is quite interesting. So far we see price consolidating a lot around the entry we're getting in and the drawdown, and when we're in drawdown even, which is usually a sign that the entry's not as good as it could be, which is obviously something that you'd learn from your testing. Obviously this one's now broken to the upside, which is a great sign if we're in long positions, which we are. Pushing to the upside. Also, apologies if you can hear the mouse. I am clicking quite a lot to move these candles along. Actually, let's just play it out. Probably easier to click actually. Playing out for this one. Okay, and that one actually hit take profit. So now obviously 2 trades, 1 win, 1 loss, and we're up $1,000, which is 1%. So we go to the next New York session. And this is basically how I test something new that I haven't done before. I will literally just go through and see, okay, obviously this is the low, this is the high. Let's see what happens. Obviously this candle is probably not going to, oh, we might break the high here, or didn't break the high on that candle. We might break it on this one here. Okay, so this one technically did break the high. So based on the rules, we have to enter this trade. And for one like this, we obviously have to have a bigger stop loss around. Well, it looks bigger, but it is only 6 pips, which is quite interesting. Then we'll place the order. We can obviously market this one because price is at the entry point. And that one was very quick. And what I prefer about being in trades that lose quickly is when you're right, you can capture a move. And if you're wrong quick. So then you can just, there's no mismanagement when you're wrong that quickly. So I feel like it's actually better to be wrong that quickly. So 3 trades in now. This one looks like it was possibly news. So we'll see what happens with this one. Yeah, so we're not going to trade this one for that initial candle anyway, because there was obviously news on this particular day. Most likely it's CPI. So we'll see if price closes above this point here now. Okay, so technically we have to buy here. And obviously it's not that fortunate. But again, the thing about backtesting is it's not about trying to make as much profit for the year. It's about testing. People don't seem to realize this. Backtesting is about testing your strategy. And if I can see that there's a certain type of setup that, like this one, goes into drawdown a certain percentage of the time, like 50% every time, then I know that on that setup I can get a better entry on average. I can reduce my stop loss size by 50% if I'm able to get an entry that's 50% lower based on, you know, the pips. So this one's still running barely in profit. When prices like this, I might just make it a bit quicker to just go through when we're actually in the setups. There we go. Okay, so that one did actually hit a profit, which is great. Another thing to note, does price coming back and retrace to the entry? Because obviously if I can make the trades risk-free, why would I not? You know, it's as simple as that. If price doesn't come back to the entry, then yeah. And like this one, the fact that it keeps going to the upside, okay, maybe I could have actually maybe trailed the stop, or I could have increased my risk to reward on certain setups. Again, something to be mindful of when you are trading. So we'll go now to the next day, which is the 7th of March. So we're 7 days in currently, and we're up around 2%. Okay, so this one we are actually going to short, because obviously price is closed below these two wicks, these two bodies here even, with a 1 to 2 risk to reward. And it's very different from my normal strategy, because normally I'd be entering when price pulls all the way back up here and trades down, but that's usually in London session. It's on a different pair, it's on a different time frame. So that's why I'm treating this as something completely different, and I'm basically throwing everything I already know about my other strategy out the window to trade this one and see if it actually works. As you see, we are falling into profit at the moment. A little retest back in. Let's see what happens on this one. Okay, so this one here, I will actually close it early for a $400 loss. And the reason being, like I said in the plan, the invalidation is this here. Price is closed above the actual structure point here from 130. So I'm going to close the trade, and what we can actually see here is what actually happens when we actually close the trade. So price is closed above, and now let's see if price actually does end up losing. So price is obviously now broken to the downside, and if we just speed this up a little bit, we can see if this does end up actually winning. And there we go. Price then hits the stop loss. So we saved ourselves around 0.5 to 0.6% because we closed early when price invalidated the setup, which is, again, great thing to actually see. We go forward another day. You can see here that this is, again, most likely a news candle, and this definitely is NFP. So we're not going to trade that. We're just going to skip to the next day. And as you see, this is the day after, or the Monday back after NFP. So it's a bit of consolidation, you know, crazy consolidation. But we'll see what happens with this candle. Okay, so we are breaking to the downside here. If we just zoom in. There we go. So we are shorting. Stop loss above there with a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Just like that. Let's make it exactly 1 to 2. Place order. See what happens on this position. Dropping nicely down, and then take profit hit, which is great. Another easy position, and like I said, price comes into drawdown and then it drops, and that's happened on the majority of the setups you've actually taken. So that is something we can look at. It's not something that I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna enter 5 pips above every time, but it's definitely something to consider. And I do not have a clue what's happened here. But again, if a candle's like this, it's usually caused by news, so we're just going to skip that. I don't want to be trading from that. So we'll see what happens on this one here. Like I said, if price continues like this, because this candle here technically broke this structure, we've also continued with this momentum. So I will look to sell on this position, just like the plan actually said, the plan for this backtesting session. Then we enter a position here. Okay, we go into drawdown. Let's see if we actually can break to the downside. There we go. And now we can move it to the 5 minute just for the sake of the time. Okay, a lot of consolidation. Then we do actually drop. And we do hit stop loss. See, the thing with this, when price is consolidating a lot, ideally you don't want to be in the trade. But there are some setups where that it's going to consolidate and then price will break out towards your take profit. But we know here, price didn't do that. So we move on to the next trade. Okay, so now price is broken to the upside. Let's go back to the 15 second one to see what happens on this next candle. close below here would give us a short position. There we go. So now we are going short. A lot of the times the setups on this strategy will kind of seem like not great setups for you guys, because obviously we're selling at the bottom. You know, normally you sell on a retest or something like that. But again, it's just part of the testing. Price is dropping nicely here. See if we can get a good close. There we go. And I'm not used to trading a 5-minute time frame, so it's quite interesting to see how price actually moves in comparison to the 15, which is what I usually trade and what I've been trading for the last 3 or 4 years exclusively. This one will probably hit take profit now. There we go. Again, we've dropped, prices retested back near the entry or around the entry, and then we do go to the TP. So around halfway through the month now, and we're up around 4.5%, which is great so far. I mean, it's very, very good. If I was making 4.5% per month, I'd be very, very happy. And you guys should be too if you are making those results. But again, this video is only going to be 1 month. So if you want me to do a full year of testing, then I can do that. But I'm only going to do 1 month because otherwise this video will be very, very long. Okay, so we'll see if price closes below here. Probably will. There we go. So now we are short. Stop above this one. It's only a 4 pip stop on this one. So it's quite small. So we'll zoom in a little bit and we'll see what happens. Okay, we're going to the upside here. This is most likely going to hit stop loss. There we go. Stop loss hit. Not really anything we could have done about that. It's going to give us a nice short here, I can imagine. There we go. So now we are short. So for the actual, when we're in the trade, we're going to make it a bit quicker with the new, the bigger candles. And there we go. Take profit hit. That one was a beautiful one. But when we're actually looking for the entries, we're going to use the 15-second, these little intervals here, like this. So we can obviously get in the trade here on the new candle when price has closed on the previous one. We have obviously a 1, 2, 2. Place order. And you see, once you have something that, okay, I'm looking to enter when this happens and this and this and this, it's very, very simple to see exactly when price is actually a valid setup for you. And obviously this is very basic, but I can see instantly, is there going to be a setup or is there not? Which is kind of what you want in your trading. Okay, so this one, it's not looking good, but we'll see what happens. Oh, there we go. Take profit hit anyway. I mean, the strategy is working absolutely perfect so far. I wish everything worked this easily when you first test it. But again, I'm going to reiterate it. 1 month doesn't determine whether a strategy is profitable or not. You can trade so good for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then it could go all downhill and you could lose it in the next month or the next 3 months. That's what you need to bear in mind. So this is not something, okay, this one, we technically broke that low there, so we're shorting. This is obviously not a strategy that I want you guys to go and replicate on your own live trading. This is just an example of how I would backtest something from the very, very start before adding extra confluences to make it an actual strategy, basically. So this one's probably going to happen very quickly. Yep, there we go. Oh, stop loss very quickly. Again, how many pips are we from the take profit? Around 0.4 pips from the take profit. And the take profit was obviously only 4 pips because we were in consolidation. So that one was a very, very interesting trade, especially as we closed below at this level here. But what I've noticed so far is it doesn't seem like closing above or below structure is that important when trading on this time frame, on the 5-minute time frame, and at this time in particular. It seems like price can just blow through any structure that's just been broken, which is, yeah, quite interesting. So see if this one actually closes below this structure point. And we actually failed to do so on that candle. And the same on this one. Okay, so here might be the break. There we go, so there's the break. Stop loss at 1 to 2. There we go. Then, like I said, we're going to change it to the 5 minute and see what happens on this trade. There we go, take profit hit. It's going very, very well so far. Did not expect this, to be honest. But we'll go back to the 15 second. The reason I'm using the 15 second, like I kind of said before, I want to see what happens throughout the whole trade and all the candles moving, basically. So this one's the setup that I mentioned in the notes. Okay, so this is what I said here. If price continues in the current trend, a close following that trend will cause an entry. So this one, the current trend is bullish, and if price closes following that trend, I'm going to enter a buy position because we're continuing with the trend. So I think this is the first setup we've actually had like this so far. So we'll see if it works. This next candle is going to stop us out. There we go. That was, yeah, quite interesting. Again, this one's kind of the same unless we do break this low here, which could very likely happen. Okay, so this one's actually broken up. So we're going to, this one's another very, very tight stop loss trade. Like this. This can be good and bad. See, look, this one hit the stop loss by like identical pips and then did go to the upside. So that is quite unfortunate. So we're actually going to the last 5 or so days here. And if we go to the 15 second, this is a normal entry for me kind of. So price obviously broken to the downside. We look for an entry around this point to sell down. If it was on the 15 and on GU, that's what I'd look for. So I look for selling at like this area here. And then price did sell. It's quite interesting. Let's see if we can break to the downside here. There we go. Oh, it doesn't want to break to the downside. That's quite interesting. Obviously, we can only go on what price has previously done here. So this high isn't the one we're looking to break because price barely even broke this high. And obviously this was caused after we were looking to get our entry. So we were looking for the high prior to, you know, the entry point we were looking to get in. Again, it's failed to break here. If we look, there we go. And now price is melting. I think this is going to be probably one of the first days that we might not even get a trade. Okay, this one might be it here. Wow. That is a crazy wick. Okay, here we go. Now we are short. Stop above the wick. And short initiated. Let's go to the 5 minute. Oh, stop loss hit straight away. And then price does go to the downside. See, again, something we can look at if that does happen quite often. So the last few trades here now. Let's see what happens. No break yet. Can we get break to the downside? No, we cannot. There we go, there's the break to the downside. We then look to short for a 1, 2, 2. And then we watch price either stop us out quickly or drop to the take profit. very close to the stop loss there. And there we go, stop loss hit. And on to the next trade. See what I mean? The first 2 weeks or 3 weeks of the strategy, it was up, for like 7.5%, 8.5%. Now we are on a little losing streak, which is, again, why you shouldn't judge it off a short period of time. Prices, again, lovely push up here. So we'll see. Change it to the 5 minute. There we go, take profit hit, on to the next. Obviously the reason I'm doing this a lot quicker is because we're already 30 minutes into this video. I don't want to completely bore you guys. So yeah. Obviously this one here, long position, we have broken the high. It's going to be a fairly bigger stop loss based on the time frame obviously, and the take profit does look massive in this scenario. We'll see if it hits. It's almost out of the trading hours now. Yeah, so we're probably just going to close this one here because, again, it's been 2 hours since the trade actually opened, 3 hours even. So we're going to close it here. Obviously closing in slight profit, like what, 0.18% or something like that. We can see what happened with this trade if we just go to the next session. We can look back and see, okay, this trade would have hit stop loss anyway, and maybe that 330 cutoff is actually a good time to actually get out of the trades because price maybe won't go to the take profit after that. Okay, price is broken to the downside here, so we're looking to obviously short. There we go. 5 minute stop loss, next trade. Oh, this is actually into April now, so that other trade was actually in April. So we're going to go into the analytics now of this. Obviously this is the strategy over 1 month. We returned 5.6%, and we see the average win is 1.74%, which is very, very good. The average loss is being 0.9%. Obviously the average win isn't 2% because we did have 2 trades I think close not at full TP, and losing trades slightly under 1% because we did have I think a trade closed like 0.5% or something like that. So overall a pretty good month. Obviously we do have April too, so we could say we actually returned 6.6%, and if we look on percentage profit, it's a lot better to see. It does all overall look pretty decent. If we look on the equity graph, it's pretty good. We're going up quite consistently, not massive losing streaks. Then we did have a losing streak here, and we need to look at what happened in this losing streak. Was there maybe some consolidation, and maybe we shouldn't trade this if price is consolidating? Maybe a day after news we shouldn't trade it, or something like that. All things we can actually look at basically doing. So there's a full month of testing, a strategy from scratch, just put down on my notes, a little breakout strategy, and I'm going to test this for the full year. Maybe I'll film it, maybe I won't, but if you guys want to see it, then be sure to let me know, and I will make that a video for you guys. So if you did enjoy and maybe have any questions or want to learn from me, then check out my mentorship. There's a link in the description, and yeah, I'll catch you guys next time.